Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben, the award-winning gardening podcast as voted for by the Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and by my listeners. I hope that you have all clicked that subscribe button. If you're new to the podcast channel, please do click the subscribe button and then you get notified of all the new podcasts that get launched. And if you're not following me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and TikTok, make sure you look for Gardening with Ben and follow me on all my social medias. So sit back, relax, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's gardening podcast with Ben. Hello and welcome back to Gardening with Ben's podcast, and we're back for a brand new episode, and I've also uploaded a brand new episode on my second podcast channel called Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast. There is a link for it in the description, but if you just search for Gardening and Allotment Tips, you should be able to find it. And that podcast is talking about how we should protect fruit trees over the winter period and about me protecting them from the bugs and everything like that. So have a listen to that podcast. And if you've not listened to that podcast channel before, that podcast channel is all about just one topic per podcast, whereas this podcast channel I'm talking all about all things with my allotment and the day-to-day of it. So yeah, go and check out that podcast channel, and there's quite a lot of episodes on there as well, so plenty to keep you going, whereas obviously on here there's over 200 episodes as well. So if you're new to this podcast, make sure you do click it follow, make sure you click that subscribe button and you'll get notified when new podcasts come up. So what have we been up to today? Well, it's Friday. Friday is finally here, and we have been really busy down at the plot today, and I mean extremely busy, and my legs are giving way from all the bending down that I've done today. But as I'm recording this, it is raining, so we have done all the work that we needed to do before the rain came, which is really good, to be honest, as I do like dry days at the allotment. I don't like it when it's raining, because that means I'm stuck inside the shed doing work inside the shed when I'd rather be outside in the autumn sunshine. And it has actually been a really nice day down at the allotment today. It's been absolutely glorious. I woke up and it was freezing cold, it was dark, it was horrible. I thought, oh, it's going to be a bad day at the allotment, but as I got pulled up at the plot, bright sunshine, glorious, warm, absolutely beautiful. So what have we been doing down at the allotment today? Well, I've just shared the pictures on Facebook and on Instagram of what I have been up to. The last couple of days I've been clearing out all my summer flowers out of the front of my allotment, and there was a lot of flowers, and that's going to be a lot for the compost heap for definite. But I've saved all the perennials because I want to pot all the perennials up and save them in the greenhouse over the winter, and that includes my geraniums, my fuchsias, my cannas, and yeah, that's about it, to be honest. Oh, and some salvia as well. So we're potting them up and saving them throughout the winter period. Yes, I could have left them in the ground because they are perennials, but they are only this year's perennials, and also I wanted to plant absolutely hundreds of bulbs. Now, if you've seen the photo on Instagram and Facebook, you will see how many bulbs I've planted. I've gone really overboard with the front of my plot, but if they all grow, it will look absolutely spectacular in the springtime, and I mean spectacular. It'll look like one of these show gardens, fingers crossed. I can only hope and pray. But we'll see, fingers crossed it will look good, and hopefully it will look beautiful. Now, the plan is to have absolutely loads of tulips next year. Now, I've got loads and loads of daffodils on my plot, and I wanted to add some tulips because tulips come a bit after the daffodils. Daffodils come out first and then the tulips seem to come out. So I wanted to continue that colour. But also I've planted all my bulbs in height order so that they are not overshadowing one another. So I must have got about £40 worth of bulbs planted. Yes, that's a lot of money, and yes, they only flower for so long, but it will look absolutely glorious. Now, obviously, the reason why I do plant the spring bulbs is not just for the beauty of the looking at them, not because of the colour or because they smell nice or attractive. I do it for the bees. I'm a massive fan of planting spring bulbs for the bees, and this is the thing that I've been trying to get my head around for the last few years. Before, I didn't used to bother about planting flowers whatsoever. I just used to grow my fruit, my vegetables, and some herbs, and that's it. But now I am really into growing the flowers, and the spring flowers are the first flowers that come out when the bees wake up from hibernation, so they need that pollen to give them the energy to get out there and do the work what needs doing. And obviously the spring bulbs are out as the fruit trees are blossoming, so the more bees you can attract to your plot, the more fruit you will get on your fruit trees and produce. So it's a win-win situation, and obviously the bulbs come back year after year unless the Mr. Squirrel pinches them or the rats. Fingers crossed they don't. I've spent a lot of money on them bulbs. So the bulbs that we have been planting today is I've planted some alliums. Obviously the alliums are at the back of the lot plants, and as they are the tallest, they are part of the onion family, and they grow really, really tall. So we've got all that done. And then I've planted tulips. Now, obviously, the tulips that I like to buy are the weird and the wonderful ones. I don't like plain old simple tulips. And I've got some like parrot type ones. I've got some flamenco type ones, and all different colours, shapes, and sizes. And I'm certainly looking forward to them. So we've got about 2 rows of them. Then we've got 2 rows of daffodil bulbs, and these are mixed varieties, so they're going to look really nice, different colours, not just the standard yellow ones. Then we have got some, what else have we put in? We've got some mini alliums, they're like yellow ones, which look absolutely gorgeous. Then also I've got some dwarf tulips in there, which I've never grown before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like. Obviously they're perfect for pots and stuff like that, but they're towards the front of my flower display, so they're not overshadowing the other flowers. We've also planted some grape hyacinths. Now these look like bluebells, but they're not bluebells, but they're like purple hyacinths, really, like grapes. But we've planted loads and loads of those. I didn't realise how many bulbs were in one of those packets, but we've planted a lot of them. Then we've planted some bluebells. I've managed to get some bluebells from B&Q, and the English variety bluebells, so I'm hoping that they do spread and multiply in this front of the allotment, and if they do, fantastic. I'll be really happy with that, because bluebells look absolutely beautiful. I've also planted a load of snowdrops. Again, hopefully, fingers crossed, they will spread and fill up the front of the plot. It will look absolutely fantastic with loads of snowdrops. The thing is with snowdrops, though, they've got loads and loads of leaves on them. So we'll see how they look when they come out. We've also planted some strange looking tulips as well, what like hang over like bells, which look absolutely glorious. I just need to now go out and get a load of crocuses. Yes, I planted all these and I've obviously lined them all up and done them all, but I'm going to need to go out and get some crocus bulbs, because crocuses are absolutely glorious, and they're one of the first ones to come out of the spring bulbs. So yeah, they certainly are one of the first things to come out. So we're going to get a load of spring crocuses, fingers crossed, in the morning. I'm going to call at the shops in the morning. The shop that I wanted to get them from was Asda, because Asda have been selling really cheap bulbs, but they'd ran out of crocuses, so I'm going to have to spend a bit more money and expense on getting a load of crocus bulbs. But I want to, obviously I've got all my bulbs in and everything, but I'm going to plant just loads and loads of crocuses all over the front of my plot. I'm not going to put them in high order. I'm just going to fill the front of it again with crocuses, and the crocuses are going to be on top of the daffodil bulbs and everything like that, so they'll fill all that space in and it will look phenomenal. So then the crocuses will come out, then the daffodils will come out, and then the tulips will come out, and I want to get some hyacinths as well, but I might have run out of space at the front. I might try and sneak some in somewhere and somehow, but we'll see. I do want hyacinths though, because they're absolutely beautiful. So now we have completed 2 areas that I wanted to get done of the spring bulbs, and that's mainly towards the front of my plot. Obviously the main front of my plot, which is like on the roadway, which is the attractive bit which impresses people as they walk past. All the other plot holders were in admiration of how beautiful the front of my plot looked, and all the glorious colours what were on the plot this year. It was fantastic during the summer months. I've never seen the front of my plot look so beautiful. Now obviously the front area, it had got spring bulbs in before. There's lots of spring bulbs in there, but each year what I do is, when I've finished with my tomato compost and cucumber compost, I just chuck it on the front and fill it up. So they are pretty deep, so I just keep filling it up, and so fingers crossed all the bulbs what were in it previously will come through as well. So it might be too full of bulbs now, but we'll see what it looks like. It could be stunning, or it could look an absolute mess. But we'll see. And then obviously I've done, as I walk onto my plot, I've done the areas around there and crammed them full of bulbs as well. And the next area to do will be my newest fruit area, which I did last year. I've got all daffodils down one side of it, but again I want to get tulips in, I want to get hyacinths in, I want to get some crocuses in, and just keep on adding that colour. And then possibly next year, because I think I'll have spent up by then, I'm going to do the main part of my plot with spring bulbs. But we'll see how we get on. We'll see how finances are. We'll see if we're not living on the knife edge next year. But we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get all them bulbs in for next year around the main area of my plot. But the main areas that I wanted doing, I've completed, and I'm happy with that. So over the weekend now, hopefully I'm going to get all my perennial plants potted up and all sorted out and tidied up to grow on in the greenhouse over the winter. I don't know what the weather's going to be like yet. I've not checked it out. Obviously, like I said, it's raining as I'm recording this, so hopefully it's not raining. But if it's raining, we'll be stuck inside the shed doing all tidying up and making it look nice and tidy and just sweeping it all out. Really, it's a lot of work that needs doing in there, and I'm hoping to give my shed a full renovation this year and make it a better place, because I want to start recording more footage for people so that they can see what I'm doing down at the plot, because I don't record much. I do my live streams when I get to the plot, but I don't actually record any videos and handy hints and tips videos, which I would like to do. Obviously I do these podcasts, but videos are sometimes a lot better than talking about it on a podcast. So if anybody's got any ideas of the content that they would like me to do, please do send me a message on Instagram, or even if you're just listening to this, just give me a message. It's always great to hear from people that do listen to these. Now, I know that a lot of people do listen to them because I can see the stats, but I don't know who actually listens to them. So if you are listening, please do send me a message, and I hope that you do enjoy them. And I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Obviously, we'll be doing another podcast tomorrow because we're off work until Monday night now, so there'll be a few podcasts coming out. Again, have a look at that other podcast channel called Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast. That is where I put all my short little podcasts, just talking about one little topic. And today's topic, we're talking about how to look after the fruit trees during winter months. So go and have a listen to that. There is a link for it in the description, or search for Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast. So until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts. Thank you for listening to today's Gardening with Ben's podcast. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do click that subscribe button, and feel free to share it as well on your Instagram stories. All you have to do if you're listening on Spotify is click the share button, and you can share it straight to your Instagram story for all your followers to listen to, and help build my listeners up as well and get more people listening to it. Feel free to check out all my social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and TikTok. Yes, I'm on TikTok. Go check it out. Check out my dancing. Gardening with Ben. And check out the link as well in the description of this podcast, where you can check out my gardening t-shirt shop, where I sell funny t-shirts with all different funny logos and designs on. And feel free to support me by purchasing one, and all the money obviously goes back into my allotment, where I can share more gardening tips with you all. So until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcast.